as well as training and certifications is also an important part of our company. As well as, the last thing is staffing and resources. So myself, my name is Rahmat Khan. I'm the managing director for Nextedge Solutions, and I have been, the total experience which I have in IT industry is 20 years plus, and past 11 years I have been in Middle East, and I was working with one of the IT distributions, and I was managing Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, as well as the rest of the Middle East. I was working as a backup for Qatar, Oman, and Kuwait, and a lot of other regions. So in cybersecurity, we work on different vendors like Palo Alto, Fortinet, Symantec, Zscaler, Checkpoint, Cisco ASA. So we have our own engineers, as well as we have some freelance engineers who are helping us to do the projects. And so we work, end-to-end solutions when it comes to cybersecurity. Similarly, with server virtualization, we have trainers, we have engineers who do implementations, and our focused market is always Middle East, because I have been in Middle East for a very long time, and due to very good contacts, and I have worked with a lot of hundreds of IT companies as I was part of the distribution. So I got the opportunity to work with hundreds of system integrators. So these system integrators are basically doing implementations in the region. So we are supporting them on cybersecurity, and we are also supporting them in virtualization, server virtualization part. So we do, professional services. Similarly, we also provide trainings in this, product. So as I said, Microsoft Dynamics and Salesforce, yes, we have a dedicated team for this. And they have a long experience of 15, 20 plus years. So yes, we do Microsoft Dynamics and Salesforce implementations as well. Anything related to implementations and customizations, there is a dedicated team who take care of it. Trainings. So we are into corporate trainings, but similarly, we recently started this to provide state trainings to the students, and we wanted to provide industry related trainings to the students, so that they can go ahead and they can make their careers according to their interest. So when it comes to the trainings, we have trainings in cybersecurity, cloud computing, Microsoft Power BI, Microsoft Dynamics, Salesforce, and a lot of other trainings. Once you start following us on LinkedIn, you will be posted about all those trainings. Staffing and resource solutions. A lot of people are concerned about what is going to happen after you take the training. So we do not provide, honestly speaking, any kind of placements, but definitely we go ahead and support you, and guide you, as well as depending on the kind of requirements we are getting from the Middle East. Only we do staffing in the Middle East, Dubai region and Saudi region. So if we have any requirements and you are registered with us, you have done training. So people who are trained with us and registered with us, and we know their skills, and according to their skill set, and if there is any requirement from Middle East, we will definitely try to fill those requirements from our students only. So this is what Nextedge Solutions is, and Karthik is our trainer for AWS. From here, Karthik will take over, and he will give you a demo session on AWS. I'll just stop sharing this, and you can go ahead, Karthik.
Here, I'll share my screen. Hello everyone, my name is Rishikesh Karthik and I'll be your trainer for AWS. So this training session is especially designed for students and professionals who are uh, ready to learn AWS and its services, like how things work in industry. So this is specifically designed in a beginner friendly way so that everyone can learn what exactly is happening. Our sessions are designed in a way that not just learning the services but also understanding what the services can lead to. For each service we have designed separate project so that you'll understand in and out of a service, not just knowing the service, but knowing where to use it. So today's demo covers AWS and cloud career opportunities. We'll also cover a live practical, uh, like how to create a server. That's a small thing, but that will make an impact when we see creating servers within minutes. And also uh, DevOps and industry use cases, like how it is used in DevOps, how AWS can be integrated in cybersecurity, how it can be used in ML. Like learning AWS can offer you a lot of flexibility to work in various kinds of domains. Like if you are presently working in some domain like machine learning, you can keep it as a skill. Like you will have an infrastructure to run your models on. These things will be covered in later sessions. Like I will also show you what is our roadmap, the whole course roadmap, so that makes sense. And also what certifications to do and placement guidance further. Okay. So, okay, this is about the session, Introduction to Cloud Computing, Understanding AWS Services, Industry Use Cases, Career Guidance, and as I've told, this is just the overview, okay? So, let's start with what cloud computing is. Okay, let's leave cloud for now and see what companies used to do before any cloud providers like AWS or Azure. So, if they want to run their applications, they used to buy servers, physical servers, and they used to configure them. They used to have server racks or data warehouses, and everything used to be managed physically. So, of course, a server is hardware that needs 100% electricity to be 100% available to all the customers. And one must also pay the electricity bill, one must patch up the servers, and one must look after servers and pay a lot to maintain lot many servers. So even if you purchase a single server, you need a lot to do the configuration, the networking, the settings. So AWS came up with a solution. So to tell you, AWS is the first cloud service provider. So it came up with an idea, why not we rent servers and people can use it as is. See, when cloud computing is introduced, we don't need to buy servers, but instead they rent us. We pay them for whatever we use them. Hope it is clear. Until here it is clear. Or please let me know if I'm going quick. Hope it is clear.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's clear.
So AWS also provides scalability and on demand. Like it has, when AWS itself consists over 200 plus services, and we are going to learn the services which are actually required, like mostly used in industries, so that that can add a value for a skill set. So you can create an entire infrastructure over the internet, like companies like Netflix, Swiggy, Amazon, and lot many. They still use AWS to host their applications. See, let's take a real-time example. When a new movie is released, of course, it gets lot of traffic. So the physical servers being there, but they cannot handle lot of traffic. I mean, there are a lot many configurations to do, and when there is lot of traffic, it needs a load balancer kind of thing and auto scaling kind of thing. Of course, these terms are new to you as of now, but I'll make it much clearer to you. So, if our application is hosted on a single server, and there is 10,000 to 1 lakh requests coming. So a single server cannot handle much load. So what happens is, using the AWS infrastructure, they can scale up vertically, I mean horizontally, like AWS instantly creates multiple servers so that the load can be distributed among each of them. And the application will be 100% available to all the users. If someone studied in a government college, they might relate with this. See, whenever we get our results, our servers would be hanged because there is only a single server and lot of requests goes to the single server. So what happens is the server gets crashed because of the huge load. So here is where AWS or any cloud computing provider can actually help us. Like it helps us to create an infrastructure using which we can make our application 100% available to all our customers. Okay. So cloud service models include IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So IaaS means infrastructure as a service. As I have told you, uh, when you need a server, you will not buy it, but you rent it. So renting of servers is called infrastructure. So server is basically an infrastructure, and renting is done by a service called EC2, which means Elastic Cloud Compute. It gives us a server through internet. So using that server, we can host our application. And coming to PaaS, PaaS means platform as a service, where the infrastructure is managed by AWS itself. We need to just deploy our application. So a simple example, AWS says you don't need to create whole infrastructure. Uh, for suppose you have your source code in GitHub, you just make a zip pocket and put in this Elastic Beanstalk. I will run it for you and make your service available to everyone. Okay. Then coming to SaaS, SaaS means software as a service. Here you don't need to worry about the platform or infrastructure. SaaS is basically like Gmail. It is a service which is provided where you can directly use it. So just like Gmail, Zoom, Google Drive, these things you don't worry about what's happening behind. You just go and use it directly. So uh, the services which AWS offers are categorized into these three. Of course, these are not limited. There are a lot many these kinds. Okay, we'll discuss going further. And why do we only need to choose AWS? AWS basically is very beginner friendly to learn. Also, it doesn't require much knowledge to get started with. So that is the reason we started with AWS. So things will be very much easier with AWS, and also it is, it acquires 40% of users across the world. There are a lot many service providers, as you know, like AWS, Azure, GCP, but most used is AWS, and also it is highly scalable and reliable. Most users use it, and also there is large market share. So when there is market, there is also demand for the product. So similarly, as AWS market is expanding, the roles for AWS is also growing. So you don't need to worry that after completing this course, will I get any job? You will definitely get into a job, because we will learn things in real time so that it can help you growing into AWS. So there are a lot many career opportunities which we are going to discuss in further slides. Okay. And these are some of popular services used in AWS. So as I have told you previously, EC2 is Elastic Cloud Compute. If you want a Linux instance, so let me make it much clear to you. For now, you have your own laptops on which you have Windows installed. So if you want to use Linux, what you do? So you might think I need to partition my uh, laptop into two parts and then uh, log in. I should create two accounts. These kind of thing I must do. But the flexibility with AWS is you need not think about this hardware or any kind of advanced stuff. You just go to AWS and request a virtual machine. You say I want a Linux server, and AWS will instantly give you a Linux server. You will directly log in and work on it. If you are willing to practice the Linux commands, you can create an instance and practice Linux commands there instead of doing all the hardware stuff with your laptop. You can directly do that. So this is one of the service provided by AWS for virtual machines, to create virtual machines and use them. Okay. Then the next one is S3, which means simple storage service, cloud storage. You store your photos in photos, videos, and multimedia in Google Drive. So companies usually don't prefer Google Drive. They prefer something like S3, because when they are using the whole infrastructure in AWS, obviously they would also like to use their storage in AWS itself. So S3 is a storage service provided by AWS. And also to tell you, S3 is the cheapest alternative to store anything. If you have visited some websites, which host movies, you can see s3.movie.com, s3.website.com. So S3 gives you that cheaper access to host anything, and there is no limit. There is a huge availability. You can store up to terabytes of data in an S3 bucket. So S3 basically has concepts like S3 buckets. So you store your information on S3 buckets. So to summarize, it is a storage uh, platform provided by AWS. And the next one is identity and access management, which is simply called as IAM. See, for suppose you have your personal laptop and you want to access it to your friend, and you want to restrict your friend to access your uh, personal folders or workspace. So what you do is you create a role for him and you restrict what all to be done. So if you want your friend to use only Google, you just restrict him to use only Google, and if he tries to access your personal things, he will be restricted. So this is a kind of service provided by AWS. So here, uh, when a server is used, when an infrastructure is used and a new employee comes, so his role is restricted only for database. So he'll be given permission only to access the database and nothing more. So IAM helps in roles, policies, users, to create users. There are a lot many things in IAM we'll be discussing in our further classes. Then comes RDS, which means Relational Database Service. Of course, there are third-party database services provided, or you can host a database service on your platform. So, on a server which you create. But why do we use RDS? So RDS is also a database service provided by AWS, where you create your database and AWS will manage the infrastructure, and also you can scale up this database. For suppose your database is full of data. So what AWS does is it creates a replica. It creates a backup thing where it creates a duplicate database. If this is filled, then you can use the other one. Also, it helps in any kind of troubleshooting. Like if you are dependent on the database provided at AWS, if you lost your data or if you have any issues with your databases, AWS can also help in recovering the data, or any kind of support AWS can give you. So if you are using a product provided by a company, of course they will take the responsibility of safeguarding everything. So that is how things work. Okay. Then Lambda, which means serverless computing. Serverless computing is also an interesting topic. Like I'll just give you an overview of what serverless computing is. For suppose you created an application on you hosted an application on EC2 instance. So the instance need to be run 24/7 by 365 days, so that it must be available to all the users. For that, you must, some cost will be incurred for the service which you are using. So even if no one is using your application, as the application is running, you must pay for what you are using, right? So Lambda came up with a solution where only when there is a traffic, or only when there is a request made to the server, per request the charge is calculated. So the other time there won't be any cost incurred. So this is also an interesting topic which we'll be learning in further classes. So for now I can say this is a cost saving approach for your applications. Okay. Now coming to career opportunities. So learning AWS opens doors for cloud engineering roles, DevOps engineering roles, SRE, which means site reliability engineer, and cloud support associate roles. So cloud engineer basically means managing the infrastructure, creating infrastructure on cloud, and managing them. So DevOps engineer means creating end-to-end pipelines, managing the workflows, monitoring things. So this comes under DevOps engineer. I'll explain it much better. So for now, I'm just giving the overview. And SRE means the engineer who looks after the applications, their uptime, and their 100% availability. And cloud support associate is a beginner level job where you basically troubleshoot the user's queries. So if someone says I am not able to access my EC2 instance, you just see what's wrong with their EC2 instance and give them a solution. Okay. So cloud engineer basically includes creating infrastructure. Like we'll discuss these concepts where you'll create a virtual private cloud, a separate infrastructure where you have everything within a single network. Like the other persons won't access this without the permission. So there are concepts called subnetting. Of course, these are very much exciting as well as important. And here DevOps includes lot many tools, like you'll have CI and CD. CI means continuous integration and CD means continuous deployment. You build a pipeline so that when a user pushes a code, the code automatically gets built, then it automatically gets deployed. So for example, let's take Netflix. So if Netflix made a change, then instantly it will be reflected because they are using DevOps. DevOps is a concept where changes will be made much more quickly. See, for example, Netflix released a new feature of AI-based search. So, if there are 10,000 users will get the search modification at once. So, this is the power of DevOps. Of course, we also have a module on DevOps where we will look at services provided by AWS to support DevOps. Then SRE, which means System Reliability Engineering, where you will be monitoring the servers and their uptime. Then Cloud Support Associate, as I have told, you will be dealing with the queries which users have regarding the cloud services. Okay. Then skills needed. Of course, don't worry, these are not the skills needed to get into this course. This course doesn't require any prerequisites as of now. The thing is, you must have the enthusiasm to learn and a laptop to do the things practically. So these are the requirements, prerequisites for this course. But after learning this course, these are, recommended while going into an interview. Of course, this plays a key role. 90% of the credit is taken by AWS itself. And you might need to learn AWS, Linux basics. Of course, these things will also be covered in our 45 days playlist. Okay. Then Linux basics, networking basics. Of course, these are the theoretical parts which you need to learn. Networking is also included in our AWS course, and Docker and CI/CD, which we have a separate, as a separate module. Then projects and troubleshooting. So you don't need to worry about projects and troubleshooting. Projects are a key role for our particular thing. We do a lot many projects based on the services which we use. Okay. Now I'll postpone this for the end of the meeting, but let me go with the roadmap. See, the roadmap basically covers AWS basics, then networking and VPC, virtual private cloud, then databases and serverless, monitoring, machine learning, DevOps, and cybersecurity. So we are going in a horizontal manner where we are going to cover all of this. Of course, if someone learns DevOps and want to go to machine learning, they can definitely go. If someone wants AWS and wants to go to DevOps, they can definitely go. So by following this course, doors will be open for any kind of roles which you want to. So the thing is not just learning the services, but also learning to do, implement them practically and create projects. Here projects play key role to get a job. It definitely makes a difference if you have lot many projects. I'll make the projects much more clear to you so that you don't need to worry about how to do them. Okay. Now coming to a phase one. In phase one, which means AWS basics, we'll learn about identity and access management, EC2 instances, how to log in into a server, then security groups, elastic block storage, which means backup storage, then S3 hosting, which means storing your files in an S3 bucket and then also hosting static websites. Then coming to phase two includes Route 53. Phase 2 includes networking. So networking we are going to cover here. So you don't need to worry much. Of course, this is networking based on AWS. So there are a couple of networking topics which are very much easier to cover. I'll also provide resources for them. Then we have CloudFront, load balancing, auto scaling, VPC. So these are very much essential because when a user wants to access your website, so networking helps us to understand how traffic flows from an external user to your end application. So these things we are going to cover in our phase 2. VPC is an important topic. I mean, these are all part of VPC. VPC is a big and important topic, but I'll break it down in simple words for you to understand. Okay? Then coming to databases and serverless architecture. So not just RDS, it also AWS also provides DynamoDB. So RDS is basically a service provided by AWS for MySQL, and DynamoDB is provided for NoSQL, which means MongoDB, and Lambda functions for your applications to run serverlessly. API gateway, it is also very much important because traffic goes to your API gateway and then goes to your applications. Then we will also create a 3-tier applications which has front end, back end, database, and how we deploy them on AWS. Okay. The phase 4 is monitoring. Monitoring includes if you have a server, then what logs you get and what alerts you get, what outages you can get. So these all things will be monitored. So for example, if you get an alert, then would you stay awake 24/7 keeping watching that? No. We would create an email alert. So whenever a threshold reaches 100% or 80%, we would create an alert or email so that it automatically notifies us and we will log in into the server and fix it. So these things will be really interesting when we start doing them. Then light sale. Light sale is something which beginners can really make use of. Then Elastic Beanstalk. As I have told you, it's a platform as a service where you just upload your code and everything is managed by AWS. So phase 4 will be also interesting. Then phase 5, which includes AI and ML services, where we will work on recognition, comprehend, transcribe, poly, SageMaker. Like these are like audio to text converter. We are going to build such kind of models using these kind of services which are provided by AWS. Like we don't need to create everything from scratch. We will use the services which are already available and create small projects so that you'll have an understanding of what each service does. Okay. In the phase 6, the important part, DevOps, will work with Docker, ECS and ECR, Elastic Container Registry, okay, cloud formation templates, which mean infrastructure as a service. Then coming with code pipeline, which is an orchestration tool for CI and CD. Also, we will build an entire CI/CD project where we will pull code from GitHub, we will build it, we will test it, we will create an image, then we will push it on an EC2 instance. The entire CI/CD we are going to work with. Okay. And phase 7 is the last one, which is cybersecurity, which is the heart of today's technology, where we'll use guard duty, web application firewall, AWS Maci, KMS encryption, key management service, and attack simulations. So attack simulations are the projects which we are going to do. Like we are going to create 2 separate servers. One is an attacker and one is a defender. So we are going to simulate attacks and see how our defender works. So this will be also really interesting. And finally, we'll have hands-on assignments, industry-focused projects, certification guidance, what certifications you need to do so that you'll be accepted by every company. And final thing is Q&A session, which is for today. Okay, let me show the roadmap. Okay. Okay. Let me open this. So this is how I have planned it. So the first day, intro about cloud services offered, SaaS, PaaS, as and echo creation. So these things we'll discuss. And for day 2, we'll discuss about IAM, rules, policies, groups, users, and this is very much, important for us. Then day 3 would be hands-on AWS, logging into it as an instance, and SSH using Windows CMD. uh, and the day 4 will include simple application creation on EC2. Of course, I'll share this with you, the entire thing. So as you can see, the common part is creating project on each day. So whatever the service we learn them and try to create a project. So see, you can see the practical VPC demo, then EBS hands-on, then using all the services we have used in a week and creating a project later at the end of the week. Okay. See, every seventh day you will have an entire project including all the tools which we have used. So coming to if we have covered the first week, we'll also include the tools which we have learned in our first week so that we don't forget them. Using all these available services, we create a whole project. Okay. Then we will work with database services, Amazon API gateway, and also using all of them will create a 3-tier serverless application, which definitely adds a value for your resume. That we will use monitoring and other hosting options. How do we monitor services, servers? Then hands-on on AWS Beanstalk, how to do everything. I'll not just explain the theory. We'll definitely work with the practical part and see how they are working. Then machine learning in AWS, recognition intro and a project on it, comprehend and a project on it, transcribe and a project on it, transcribe plus poly, a basic voice assistant project, SageMaker. Using SageMaker, we'll deploy an ML model. So DevOps in AWS will work with cloud formation templates, then AWS code commit, the CI part on a single day, CD part on other day, and entire CI/CD projects. Okay. Also, we will see about the important thing, cost management, cost optimization. Then in cybersecurity also, each day we will work on a project. Okay, simulation and prevention. Of course, I'll definitely share this with you so that you can go through this and understand this. Okay, so this is the entire roadmap, and this as this also includes projects, you will be able uh, I can guarantee that you will be ready for 2 certifications. One is AWS Cloud Practitioner, which is a basic certification, and the other is AWS Solutions Architect. Of course, you need some other services to learn. For that, you can refer to courses available on Udemy. So these things covers you in-depth knowledge on AWS. Okay. As I have told you, let me quickly show the practical thing. So I'll log in. Okay. It will take some time. Password, sign in, task for a 2-factor authentication. So let me just do this. Where is my authenticator? Okay. Okay. Right. Perfect. I have logged in into my AWS account. So let me show it to you how to create a simple server. See, now I want a server and I don't need to go to a shop and buy a server physically. I'll just request AWS to give me. Now let me show the process of how I request a server and how AWS gives me that. I think I'm facing a connectivity issue, so it is slow. So until then, if anyone have any doubts, please feel free to ask any questions I'll be ready to answer. Let me check.
Did we get any experience certificate?
Yeah, I'll definitely get it. I mean, what kind of experience did you get? I mean, can you please make it clear?
Yeah, so what about the placement resistance or support from your side?
I think Rahmat can take from you to explain these things.
Yeah, am I audible, Rishikesh?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you go ahead? Yeah, Karthik, I was not able to hear. What was the question?
So I'm asking about the placement in is any placement and resistance or support from your side.
The placement, uh, the thing, the placement, 100% placement, we don't confirm. But if we get any requirements, definitely, we can, depending on the skill set, we can propose your resume there.
Okay.
But what we can promise is it will this course will definitely make you job ready because we are going to you create project for each application and not just theory. You will also learn how to implement them practically. So these projects can definitely add weightage to your resume, and whatever the AWS job you can apply, you will have an edge than others because you will work with projects on each of the services, integrating all of them. So this actually matters in interviews. Of course, I can guarantee that you learn it, yeah, you love this course. So what I'll do is simple. You just don't need to worry about the steps. I'll just do it with much quickly. Okay. I'll click on this. Then I'll just give it in. AWS. And what kind of instance? Okay, still loading. If you select which operating system I need, okay, that's fine. I'll just explain you by showing this UI because my connectivity might have lost or I need some extra network for this. So here I will select what kind of instance, I mean, which server I want. Do I want a small server or a large server? I'll specify the size of the server which I need. And here I'll specify which operating system I need on this server. Like if I need Linux or Windows operating system, I'll specify that thing. And here I'll use a key pair. Key pair means basically it's an authenticator. Like when we want to access a particular service, I mean, uh, if I want to restrict the people to access or to remotely log in into the server which I have created, I will say whoever has the key pair only can log in. Okay. And here network settings, which includes networking, like if we host an application, who should be able to access it. So these things will configure it here. And of course, even if you don't configure this, you can configure it in the later stages. And by clicking on launch instance, your server will get created and you can log in into it and do whatever you want to do. If you want to practice Linux commands on it, you can do it from here. Don't worry. Now I am unable to explain this just because of my network issue, and I'll definitely explain this whenever we get, I mean, in our future classes. So let me try it now. Okay, it's still not working because of the network issue. Yeah. And finally, to conclude, I thank you everyone for joining this course. Of course, this will definitely help you in learning. And cloud is the future of modern infrastructure and software. So let's keep learning and building projects. And I am excited to meet you in my further sessions. Okay. So that's from my side. If any
Thank you
doubts,
very much. Thank you, Karthik, and thanks for joining Rajendra and Devishi. I think she left. So
Yeah.
send me this recording. What I'll do is we make one this group for demo sessions. I'll share the link in the group.
Sure,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Varun.
Please send them. Yeah.
Thank you, Rajendra.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time.